Welcome back, friends. Okay, Sarah.
Yeah, so all that I was going to say is, I'm teaching this class on Dante right now, and one of the things that we have been talking about is the language, right? Is language and how how we engage with it. And in the last talk, you had been referring to this priest who has come into the church through the Anglican ordinariate, meaning that he was probably raised as an Anglican or an Episcopalian, probably in America, and um, by God's mercy, his eyes were open to the truth that this is where that Rome, that having a pope and uh, that having that solid foundation is pivotal to maintaining the truth of the church. And I was just saying that there is such an arrogance in modernism that believes that we are strong enough to hold the truth of the faith in what I'm going to call an infant language. So English is such a baby in terms of its speech. French, even modern French, all of these languages have no, they're just infants in terms, I mean, in comparison to Greek, right? In comparison to Hebrew, in comparison to Latin, our language is in constant flux because a language does not grow up until it dies. It cannot endure the weight of the mass. It cannot endure the weight of doctrine until no one is speaking it anymore. And what we have done in the arrogance of these modernists is yoke ourselves to a perpetually changing liturgy. I mean, I'm sorry, with all due respect, everyone knows that the songs that we sang in the 70s are already dead. No one has any emotional connection to them. We don't like the rhythms that they were written in. We don't like the melodies. We find their poetry trite and juvenile. When we try and put it up against a beauty of a St. Thomas Aquinas and a Pangilingua, though the mountains may fall and the hills turn to dust. I mean, these things have there's no ability to hold the weight that we have put on this poor little language of ours. And to me, it's a cruelty. And then we've made ourselves ignorant because we don't do anything to, we don't put our language into something that can't be changed because we have not done the legwork to learn it.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. All right. Poverty, chastity, and obedience. So we're on the task with devotion. So we took up praying in Latin. So I guess that should have been under prayer. So now we have obedience. That's doing the will of God. Chastity, that's our bodies, keeping control. Poverty, that's the material in serving others. So that's how he envisions poverty, obedience, chastity, and poverty. Doing God's will, having custody of ourselves, and helping the poor. Um, it's love poured out. And then friendship. Then friendship. I do have an addendum here on obedience and poverty, chastity and poverty, with one of his questions for those who want more detail. All love is not friendship. Friendship implies mutual love. Friendship is the most dangerous of communication because it is hardly possible to be closely bound by its mental communication, its ties, without sharing in its qualities. Gosh, we just read out of Sirach, the kind of friends you keep is pivotal to who you will be. Friendship varies according to these communications, and they vary according to that which people have to communicate. So here's the two sides. If men share false and vain things, their friendship will be false and vain. If that which is good and true, their friendship will be good and true. In the world, those who aim at the devout life require to be united one with another by a holy friendship which excites, stimulates, and encourages them in well doing. If your intercourse is based on science, it is praiseworthy. Still more if it arises from a participation in goodness, prudence, justice, and the like. But if the bond of your mutual liking be charity, devotion, and Christian perfection, God knows how very precious a friendship it is. And so he will say, continue worldly friendship. A false friendship is profuse with honeyed words, passionate endearments, commendations of beauty, and sensual charms. True friendship speaks a simple, honest language, praising nothing but the grace of God, its one and only foundation.
Yeah, and that is so true. It's so visible now.
Yes.
You know, how another thing that we were talking about with some of my students is this you know the counterfeit of friendship that is being offered to so many people in society right now that is uh, absolutely separated from the body. And you know, you can't have. I mean, it's one of those things where when the body has a defect, right? I mean, and maybe the arms don't move or the legs don't move, or so you can't physically show love per se with your body, but your presence is sufficient, right, to express the love. But now we have with the internet and just the triteness of friending someone, right? That we've taken something that is a noun, right? Something upon which a verb can be predicated, and we've made it into a verb itself. I mean, doesn't it speak to like the consumerism element of it, that you've now commercialized something, right? A person who is supposed to share your deepest thoughts, who is supposed to challenge you to goodness and virtue, has now become a verb. I mean, I talk about Satan's one of his greatest sleights of hand.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
To make someone into an action.
You're the use of the other person.
Right.
Using it instead of treating that person in the image and likeness of God. It's a
right.
utility. It's
yes.
a utility.
Utilities and commodities.
Yes.
Because I think that is so beautiful. What Francis de Sales says is that a bond of friendship that is based on charity and devotion can only give glory back to God. Like there's not going to be a moment when they say, "Oh wow, how good am I for you?" Right? Or how good are you for me? The source of reference is always going to be to the gift giver, right? Not to the gift.
That's right.
And I think that that's so lacking now.
Very much.
Because I don't know, because there is no depth to friendship, maybe.
Yes, yes. I think we've lost our anthropology, so we don't know who we are,
right,
in modern man, and so
right.
we don't know who we are. We certainly don't know who the other is.
Right.
I don't think we know what God is, and we've lost definition of love,
right,
in the main. But here, garden embraces, and these little snips of time,
right, trying to find our way back.
We are going to cultivate a Catholic culture, and we do it because it's meet and right so to do,
right. Yeah.
and it gives us imminent joy. And
Right.
at the end of right is we're like with Peter, where else are we to go, Lord?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, really to just help people to enter into relationship, because I think that that maybe does too sum up in a little way what devotion means,
Hmm.
right? One can love someone, or the one can love the thought of someone, I guess. One
Yes,
has not entered into relationship with them. I can, and it requires, I think, devotion requires relationship. That's why he's saying it's so important that you spend that hour in time. I mean that you give time. That even if you're distracted.
that's right. And you're distracted. I mean, that is so Teresian. That is so Teresian. It's so Teresian. You guys should look at the great masters, should look at her mother foundress, Teresa of Avila, should look at John of the Cross, or Francis de Sales. She absolutely would know him. And oh my gosh, her head would get, and she'd get, and then she would just, she's in the lap of her father.
Right. Yeah.
and he's and he's not surprised at our littleness. The only person we're surprised is ourselves.
Right.
He knows what he's made.
Right. He knows what he's made. Yeah.
He's not
Yeah. It's very
surprised.
true.
Yes, yes. Okay. All right, friends. I apologize. I redacted uh, 16 weeks of course down to 8 pages, but this was a 30,000 view take
Right.
of DeSales.
Yeah.
Don't impoverish yourself. That get
Get the book.
get the book
Yeah. Yeah.
and enjoy his thoughts from 400 years ago or so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's incredible is that they are 400 years old and they're timeless.
And they're timeless, and that's why he's a doctor of the church. All right, till the next time, my friends. Fide Serraccio.